Okay, onward with the stories about curing herpes. See, I got a lot of stories about curing herpes because, as I say, I was the first herpes cure. And I have thanked God. I have literally walked through this park and thanked God that I got herpes in 1966. That's when I am going to be 63 in a few days. I got herpes in 1966. And I cured it in 1993. So I had herpes. I was having herpes outbreaks on a regular basis for 28 years. And I haven't had one since I cured it. In 93, I haven't had a herpes outbreak. And people ask me, how long does it take to cure it? And the answer is, for me, it was instant. You know, from the day that I learned that I could take herpes out, I never had another outbreak. And that's because I care about this stuff, you know. It matters to me. And I did not tolerate, see, you see the bodies and the pathologies, okay? Well, there are certain bodies, not the physical body, but certain other bodies. One of them is the spiral body, it's called. I know you've never heard of the spiral body, and you want me to explain it to you, and I'm not going to. Okay, you're going to experience all this for yourself. But and we test, you know, we get like people get various kinds of signals through their hands, you know, usually their hands. And that's how we know what we're doing. It's a feedback loop. And we call it testing, okay? So I tested that I had to have herpes in my spiral body for 3 days. And if I could keep it out, I mean, if I had it there for an hour, I was not going to get a physical outbreak. And that was my goal, was not to get any more physical outbreaks, because the way I thought about it was it would die off if I didn't get it in my physical body anymore. Now, I've never had a medical test for herpes to find out if I don't have, you know, if it doesn't show in a medical test. But lots of people get negative medical tests. And the reason they get them, like Elizabeth, when she called in from New Zealand, she was waving her test results, you know, that she got back from her doctor that day, and she called right away and left me a message about 5 years ago. That's what you're hearing on that show. I spliced it in. You know, when you listen, I mean, the lesson number 1. When you do lesson number 1. But I figured anyway, I did want to get it out of my physical body. I don't care about getting tested for it, okay? Because they don't really have a test for it. You can test negative for herpes and still have it. You know that, right? I mean, they're just testing for antibodies, you know. So you can test negative for herpes and still have it. But you can kill it and not have it. And there was a time I knew when I didn't have it. So I figured that time could return and I could have it again, have no herpes again. Now this is very important because herpes is a lethal disease. It kills you. See, that's what most people don't understand. That I talked to this guy, and he was saying he didn't care about even curing it. He just came over to see if he could. You know, he came over to my place to see if he could cure his herpes. But this was also years ago. But he didn't really care about curing it. He said, it's just some pustules I get. It doesn't matter. I can live with them for a few days, and then they go away, you know, and they come back every few months. See, now, some people get back-to-back outbreaks. They get overlapping outbreaks. There was a woman, this was about 6 or 7 years ago, and this woman had overlapping outbreaks, cured it, didn't have an outbreak for 5 months, 4.5 months. And I was talking to her on the phone after she got another outbreak, and she said, I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. I started getting outbreaks again, you know, and I don't understand why, because I didn't have any, and I had this serious virulent case of herpes, and now it seems like it's back. The answer was, it happened a minute later. She's talking to me, and her father came in the room, and she said, oh, I can't talk. My father's in the room, and I hate my father. she was compromised. See, anything that compromises you, you have emotional, spiritual, and physical diseases. And in order to cure your herpes definitively and actually have it die off and get a negative medical test, probably you're going to have to cure all of them. Or at least have them, you know, in a state of, you know, where, I mean, you may go down with them later, but for the time being, they're temporarily cured anyway. I think a lot of these people that get negative medical tests, they cure a lot of stuff. And you know, before I cured my herpes, I didn't know you could cure physical diseases. But I started getting signals, and I cured a lot of other things, mostly emotional things and so on. But I just used it to make myself feel good. What you're going to hear, you know, in lesson 1 is you're going to hear a lot of people feeling really good. You know, and those are the people that cure their cancer. And yeah, people cure cancer. I've got a lot of cancer cures on the cancer page. And people cure Graves' disease, just everything. You know, Crohn's disease, they cure everything with this. Because, again, if you can kill one incurable virus, you can kill them all. You know, Elizabeth didn't just cure herpes, she cured CMV and Epstein-Barr. Because if you can kill herpes, you can kill CMV and Epstein-Barr. So that's the, you know, that may be everything I've got to say. It's probably time for you to get started curing things, or at least, you know, expose yourself to some of the other things in the college. So get a book and carry it around with you. Use it as a handbook. Put it somewhere where, like in your car, where you can look something up when you're, because you do this all day. Like when you start, you do this all day. You know, you just don't stop. You don't sit in front of your computer and do it. You go to the park, like I'm in the park, you know. And when I cured my herpes, well, when I cured my herpes, I was on the patio of a car rental place. But when it came back after my nap, and I was running on the beach in Puerto Rico, that's when I realized I had to take it out and keep it out. And then it would die off. And I never got another outbreak, but I kept finding it in the other bodies for about 18 months. And I just never left it there. And one more little story, as long as I have another minute here. A few months after I cured it, stopped getting outbreaks. About 6 months, actually, maybe later. 6, maybe more, actually. Even maybe 8 months later. You know, if you're a herpes sufferer, you know, like you get this sort of like a signal, it's a sensation before you're getting a herpes outbreak. And I started getting that on my genitals, like I was going to get an outbreak on my genitals. Started feeling that feeling. And if you're not a herpes sufferer, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you are, you may know, because a lot of us, you know, we get this, okay? And I got real scared, and I thought, oh my God, I didn't cure this. And I just said to myself, calm down, okay? You cured it, and you're going to keep it cured. I gave myself a little pep talk, and I took it out of the bodies. I found it in the other bodies. There's more bodies, you know, to take it out of. And for a week, I kept getting this signal, and then nothing. It just stopped. And that was it. That's the last time I ever had even a brush with it. So good luck with it, you know. I hope you're one of the ones that cures it. You write in, you know, report your cure in the Cure Drive. Be a member, get the email. Report your cure in the Cure Drive. And send us an email about your cure, because it inspires the rest of us. And the more people cure things, the more people cure things. That's how it works.